You know, it really is very, very precise. Have I said precise enough? But it is precise. Good morning and welcome to another video. This week's going to be a little bit of a product review, and I'll get to that as soon as I can. For those of you waiting for that, I'll try and rush through this introduction bit as quick as I can, but just to give it a little bit of context really. In last week's video, the stalking video I did, and I'll put a link up there to that, I got a comment from one of my regular viewers actually with regard to the use of binoculars for scanning ahead and picking up on wildlife before you can actually see it with your eyes. And I have to say, this wasn't new to me. This is something I used to do an awful lot of when I was first starting out in wildlife photography. But like most things, as time's gone on and the amount of equipment I have to carry has got more and more, yeah, we've gone mirrorless, but you know, now I'm filming wildlife as well, so I generally have a big tripod with a fluid head on as well. And it just got to the point where, you know, I was trying to shed things that I thought I could shed. And what I went to doing is leaving binoculars at home a lot of the time and looking through the camera lens. So what I would do is if I saw something moving in a hedgerow 200 or 300 yards ahead, I'd pick the camera up, look through the lens, even go as far as taking an image and then zooming in on the back of the camera to see if I could see what it was. And the comment that I got on my stalking video got me thinking, actually that's quite a reactive way to look at wildlife photography. You're actually seeing something and then reacting to it. The problem with that is that if you're reacting to something, it may be that the thing that you're looking at has already seen you anyway. And the biggest advantage with wildlife photography is if you can see the animal first. So what I realised was that with binoculars, what I tended to do more when I was going out with binoculars, I would be scanning continually. So every 2 or 3 minutes, if I got to a junction or came into a different area, I'd be scanning around looking for things. By using that approach, it's much more proactive and you're far more likely to pick up the animal before it actually sees you, which again then leaves you to make that decision. Is it coming towards me? Can I wait here and wait for it to come to me? Is the wind in the right direction? Can I move into a different position? Is it moving away from me? Can I get round in front of it? And you can make all those decisions, and binoculars really enable you to do that. So with that in mind, I decided, yeah, I needed to get a new pair of binoculars because my old Olympus ones that I'd used for a number of years are quite big and bulky. Nice binoculars, and when I say nice, the sort of thing that I look at is sort of middle of the road. And if you watch my channel a lot, you'll know that I'm quite a believer in that there is a certain price point where the benefits you get from a product get smaller and smaller and smaller, and the price increases get higher and higher and higher. So it's trying to hit that point where you're getting a really good product at a really good price really. So this led me to pick up these Vanguard 10x42 ED binoculars, which I'm going to talk to you about this morning. So let's get on with it, and I'll give you a little bit more context into why I chose these in a minute. Right, so what is my reason for choosing these Vanguard binoculars over anything else? Well, as a lot of you will probably know, and I'm an ambassador for the Vanguard brand anyway, so I do use a lot of their products. I originally started using Vanguard camera backpacks probably 10 or more years ago, and I still use that bag today, and I've got several other bags that I now use as well. And then I moved on to tripods, and the theme that runs through those two ranges, for me anyway, I always get good quality but a reasonable price. And what I was hoping with the optics, which I've never used before, is that that theme would continue. So anyway, with that in mind, I went away, looked at the range of optics that they've got, and decided that the price range I wanted to go for was the Vanguard Endeavor 10x42 ED binoculars, which retail at about £249. Right, so if you're expecting an unboxing, well, you're going to be disappointed. They come in a box, which stops them getting broken. What more can I say? They came really well packed. You do get this soft shell with them, and you get a lens cloth and the instructions and the warranty information, all that sort of stuff that you'd normally get. And then the binoculars themselves come with it's a nice comfortable strap to wear, and it's one of those that you can clip off if you want to, so you can unclip that and take them off and remove the strap. So as regards the features of the product itself, well, as I say, the 10x42, so 10 times magnification. The size of the aperture for the lenses is 42mm, which is quite a good light gathering capacity there. Quite standard, I think, for this style of binoculars. Now, when I said these are ED glass, it's basically that's the glass that's in these is very good at removing chromatic aberration and is really good at enhancing the colour of the scene that you're looking at. So you get a really crisp, nice image through this glass. The colour rendition and the clarity through these binoculars is second to none, really. And the lenses themselves also have multi-coatings on there, again, to improve the light gathering and the crispness of the image that you're getting. A lot of binoculars in this price range would be, I think, are they back 7s, roof prisms. These are back 4s, which again are recognised to be better quality than the back 7s. So something else you're getting at a reasonable price in this binocular that potentially you wouldn't get in another brand. So what do these binoculars feel like in the hand? Well, ergonomically, I think they've done a really good job. As you can see there, this gap in the middle allows your fingers to drop through and leaves your first finger really nicely positioned on this large focus wheel. Very secure in the hand, you don't feel like you're going to drop them. Yeah, they're just lovely to hold and use, actually, and then obviously you bring your other hand up to this side. So ergonomically really lovely. The finish on the binoculars is quite nice as well. It's this stippled rubberized design, which is really good. You've got your ratcheted up eyepieces there, a really nice feature. Your lens caps at the front, so they attach to the front of the binoculars, so you're not going to lose them, and then they just flop down. You can find actually in windy weather that these flop back up, and if you're ever looking through and thinking that looks a bit strange, what you might find is that your lens caps pop back up. And the same for the back. Again, you can attach those. Some are pretty standard feature these days. My old Olympus binoculars, none of those attach, constantly losing them, constantly looking in different pockets trying to find them. No such trouble with these, they're all attached. But the diopter, now this probably is one of the features why I went for this model rather than some of the more budget options in the Vanguard range, and that's because this locks. So as you'll know, when you're setting up your binoculars, you have to set one of your lenses up for your right eye because both your eyes will be different, so you're focusing with that, but you need to set this up for your eyes. So obviously what you do is you close this side off with the lens cap, look through your binoculars, and then focus it, get it in focus, and then if it's still not quite in focus, if you can't focus it precisely, you then know that this needs moving here. Now what I like about this, all my previous binoculars, yes, they all have this on, but they don't lock. So what constantly happens is this gets moved around, we pack them away, and you find that it's moved. I resorted in the end to putting a little white Tipex mark on so that I knew every time I got back that I'd got to reset it to that point as near as possible. With these I can get it really, really precisely, and then as you see there, there's a lock-in collar. When you want to adjust them, you pull that up, and when you've finished adjusting them, you pull it back down. That then locks that in position. It's not going to come out. These are going to be ready for you to use every time you're out in the field without any messing around. So again, lovely feature. Right, so what do I think about these binoculars then, out using them in the field? Well, clearly for me, they're the best binoculars I've ever used. They're some way above the binoculars I have at the minute, and that's not hardly surprising because of the coatings on the lenses, the ED glass that's in here. My old binoculars don't have that, so I would expect them to outperform it. As regards should you buy these glasses, well, what I would say is that what I'm all about is, again, getting as much product as I can for the best value. And I think, for me, these binoculars do that. Like a lot of the Vanguard range, again, it's something that they pack an awful lot of features in, an awful lot of good things into a reasonable price package. So for instance, you know, these binoculars might give you 98% of the performance of a Leica pair of binoculars, but they're a sixth of the price. Now, I can't say for definite because I've never used Leica binoculars. They could be absolutely outstripped these 100 times. But my intuition tells me that if everything works like it does with cameras, then that won't be the case. These will either be very close to Leica binoculars, and a lot of the time the only difference is the badge you've got on the side. And for me, I don't really care about the badge I've got on the side. What I care about is, are these doing what I want them to do? And quite clearly for me, these absolutely do that. Anyway, with that in mind, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week for another one. Vanguard actually have been kind enough to offer anybody who watches this video and purchases these particular binoculars, if you put the code in, which I'll link to in the description below, you'll get 15% off, and that runs till the end of March 2022. Anyway, that's me done for this week. It looks like it's about to pour it down, so I might be testing the waterproof features and anti-fogging on these binoculars quicker than I thought it was going to be. I'll see you later. Have a good week. See you for the next one.